Hello everyone, how's it going? So I've played about 20 hours of Mouse PI for Hire, and I'm going to try and keep this as spoiler free as possible. I've gotten about 90% of the achievements, but I think I have a good idea about whether you will enjoy this game or not. So this game is basically more or less a combination of Doom Eternal and a very simple version of LA Noir. It has aspects of that, but for the most part, it is a linear game where most of the answers are handed towards you. So, what is the story here? So, you take control of a mouse PI called Jack Pepper. What starts off as a routine investigation blows up into a massive conspiracy leading to political assassinations, giant, huge fight for power from a new upstart political party, racism, supernatural elements. A lot of aspects of this story are well written, and even though it can feel bloated at times, especially towards the middle half of the game, it all comes together towards the end. In fact, the game does the classic crime scene board where Jack is putting all the clues together in order to get an idea of what's going on, and even he's confused. He's like, why is this all happening? How are they connected? And as you go through the story, you see how it builds up to a finale that really brings everything together. In fact, the game has this kind of moment where you're like, oh, are they going to sequel bait you? And then they just kind of take a left hook and said, nope, we're going to complete the story. If this is just a one and off game and they don't plan to build on it, which they can if they want based on the lore of this game, and I really like the lore, it really takes aspects from real life, especially World War II. You'll see a lot of aspects from that. But regardless, if this is a one and done thing, I'm happy with it, and I'm glad they didn't sequel bait us and they actually finished towards the end. You can see that a lot of love and passion went into this project. It's not just a title that's trying to wow you with its presentation, which is a 10 out of 10. They put a lot of heart and soul into the characterization of each person, the voice acting, the musical score. Everything comes together for a really beautiful experience. Best of all is that they do have an actual option for streamers to remove the copyrighted music. There is a lot of copyrighted music in this game, but it still holds up even without it. So there's a streamer friendly option for that, and I'm glad when game developers take the extra initiative, knowing that people are going to play their game on stream, and given how just anarchist how anarchy the YouTube copyright system is and the Twitch copyright system is, it's a good way to have this type of system. Regardless, I played this on PC. I've had no issues in terms of crashing. There were some graphical issues, textures flashing and stuff like that, but nothing major. For the most part, this game is completely finished, stable. I haven't saw any major issues with it. But the story, I really enjoyed it from start to finish. There's a lot of world building, a lot of optional collectibles, and a lot of stuff that showcases that this world is much larger than than it seems, and the characters all bring this world to life. So I'm trying to keep it as spoiler free as possible. But yeah, the game is very well written, and I thought the story was brilliant. Now, the gameplay is a first-person shooter with light crime-solving aspects. The reason I linked it towards Doom Eternal instead of like Doom the Dark Ages or Doom 2016 is because you have a lot more speed and options when it comes to your combat ability. As you play through the game, you gain mobile abilities such as the ability to hover, a grappling hook, to climb large ledges. And by the end of the game, Jack is basically this very nimble, high-octane, powerful soldier. I mean, he was a soldier, what they called the old world, but regardless, the gameplay is really solid. You have so many different weapons to choose from classic pistols, shotguns, a freeze ray that you get later on in the game. There are wacky weapons here to try and complement the cartoonish art style for this game, but there are also some more grounded weapons like shotgun, submachine gun, which is incredibly powerful. I think a lot of us are going to use that. There is a weapon customization system where you get blueprints and then you can take it to Tammy, which is like your surrogate daughter. She's an engineer who will build you more powerful variants. Each weapon can be upgraded up about 3 times exactly, and you'll get these blueprints by just exploring the level. But the game is separated into a linear structure. You go from one level to the next, and there is a hub world similar to Cuphead where you drive around the city and you go to each area, but it's more or less just to show I guess the how things have past over time, because as you go through each level, there is a lot of rampages that go around as you kill the enemies throughout each area. Some areas will get set on fire, but you can't revisit areas, which does become a problem later on, and I'll explain why. But it is at its core a linear game. You go from point A to point B. Some areas are closed off when you go into a level. Once you pass the point of no return, you can restart a level once you get to a certain point, but once you exit the level, that's it. You can't go back. There are multiple save slots. I know that seems like an act that should be expected, but the way games are designed nowadays, that becomes a rarity nowadays. But they have multiple save slots, so you can save as many times as you want. At least I haven't run out of save slots. There are auto saves, so you can literally auto save if you accidentally do something and you want to go back. But yeah, there are a collection of levels. Each one is well distinctly developed. There are an array of enemies that you fight, each with their unique aspects, and as you go through the game, you'll fight boss fights, which are also well designed. I literally have nothing negative to say about the gameplay. They have these little arena rooms similar to Doom Eternal, where you take advantage of your mobility abilities and your ability to shoot as you take these enemies out. So there's a big emphasis on mobility and shooting. Like, the combat is just so fun and so amazing and refreshing. Like, I haven't had this much fun for a first-person shooter in a long time. It just, like, now that I think about it, it plays a lot more like Halo Infinite than I would say Doom Eternal, because Doom Eternal is a lot faster than this game. You do have a dash, but the mobility system is limited by a stamina meter, so I would say it's more aligned with Halo Infinite maybe, but Halo Infinite's combat is a little more snappy than this. So regardless, the combat is a 9 out of 10. It is absolutely brilliant. It does get a little tiresome because you can feel like some areas were just added for the sake of just trying to extend the game. The game's about 10 hours. I beat it 10 hours the first time, 8 hours the second time, but I was also looking for collectibles and trying to 100% everything, and seeing that, then this is the major issue. The collectibles in this game are just so they're such an ordeal to get. Like, if you're a completionist like myself, this is going to be one of the worst games to 100%. And I know this is probably going to be subjective for a lot of people, but there are a lot of things they could have done here in order to make things a lot easier for the player. For example, they could have put a number count in order to give an idea of how many collectibles are in their stage. I believe there are 2 for each, and there are so many collectibles in this game. There are dolls, which are just the same doll that you get from the first one. It's basically a mini Jack Pepper, and you have to get 10 of those. There are like 30 newspapers, which are actually lore documents, which give you more information about the world. Diary entries, which aren't required for an achievement. They're just kind of there to supplement the main narrative, but they're there. There's also baseball cards for this mini little card game that you can play. It's not the same as, like, say, Gwent or Queen's Blood or Triple Triad. You just use the most powerful cards and you'll always win. I don't even really fully understand the rules, but I won like 20 games by just using the most powerful cards. But you can find baseball cards. And then, yeah, and when it comes to the secret rooms in this game, the way the secret rooms are fashioned, I'm not really a fan of them. So basically, you go into a secret room, but they won't show you the secret that's within the room. Sometimes it would just be items, like regular items like money and stuff, which you can use to purchase ammunition, and you can also use to purchase collectibles that you miss. But I'm not sure if you can purchase all the collectibles that you miss. I think you can only purchase a certain amount. I'm not really entirely sure on that. But yeah, you can sometimes find like baseball cards, blueprints, but the game does not tell you that. It actually hides it in the secret room. So it's a secret room within the secret room. I think some players might like that, but for me personally, I did not like that. I always kept thinking in the back of my mind, am I missing something? Because there's no map in this game, at least as far as I can tell. So there's no way for you to detect if there are items around that you need to locate. So that becomes a huge issue where you're constantly wondering, am I missing something? Is there something there? I know a lot of people weren't a fan of like Doom Eternal and Doom the Dark Ages, where they show you where the collectibles are, but just because they show you where they are doesn't mean that you know how to get them. You always kind of have to use your critical thinking skills in order to find a way to get to that item. Here, you'll constantly wonder if you're missing something, where it can be located, and they hide these collectibles very well. Like, it's always in plain sight, but in a very hidden area that's hard to look at. The other thing is these optional side cases. Now, you can pick up optional missions throughout the game, and the problem with these optional missions is that they're not always clear. Like, for example, there's this one called Find Blueprint. Find it in the old subway station. And then when you go around looking for this, you're like, where? Like, this level is so huge. Did I miss it? Is it back there? Is it like like a map would have helped a great deal, or literally just an indicator saying you are close to the item. And the thing is that I think these items are randomized, because when I played through my second time, I found a bunch of the side key items for these side cases in different locations. They were always like in the general area where I found them the first time, but they were always hidden in a different area within that area. So, and the thing is, these key items are much harder to find than the secret items in the secret rooms. Like, they just blend so well with the aesthetic and presentation, with the colorization. So even with like the glowing like little god rays that come out of it, which are also like the noir color, it's very hard to spot. And since they just kind of push it in, like they'll just shove it into like this, like just really deep into here, and you're just like, where is this? And you just find that little sliver of item. I really think they need to fix that. Like, this, something has to change with these collectible items and these key items, because as I stated, you can't revisit old levels. So if you don't find it, you're just out of luck. And there are also like safes and locks, which if you fail once, you can't unlock them again. So you're basically screwed. There is just such a high level of punishment for just missing one thing. And I know a lot of people will say, well, Doom had that as well, where if you miss something, well, you're out of luck. But you could also revisit those levels and go back and find those items. But in this game, you have to replay the entire game. There's no new game plus. So if you miss something and you don't even know where you missed it from, you're out of luck. Now, if you're not a completionist and you just want to play through the game normally, I don't think this will be that big of an issue for you. You'll probably be like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. But for people like me who want to get everything out of the game, this is going to be such a unbelievably horrible experience. Like, things have been modernized so much within collectible games that it's just really shameful that they didn't take this into consideration, because the fact that you can't revisit levels, the fact that you're not given a general idea where these collectibles are, because they could be in very obtuse areas. Like, literally you find a baseball card that's hanging from a clothesline, or you can find it literally tucked away at the bottom of a stoop, like just deep inside the soup. And it's just very weird. Like, I find this really upsetting that they didn't take this into consideration, but it didn't really remove that much of an experience, because I thought about it. Most people are not going to care about this. This is only for people who really want to engage with that stuff. But when it comes to like the overall presentation, the gameplay, the experience of Mouse PI, I think this is a clear 9 out of 10 game. It is a fantastic single player adventure, good story, great action, fantastic weapons, incredible music, and just graphical style. A lot of love went into this game, and you could just tell. It reminds me a lot of Devil May Cry 5, where you can just feel the passion from it. Like, these people cared about what they were making, and it clearly shows. So if you're a fan of just first-person shooters, you'll love this game. If you really love like LA Noire style stories, this is going to be another game for you. It has so many elements to it that I think it's just one of those games that's just strongly refreshing. And it shows that there are still a lot of creative people out there who want to make cool games with the technology that's given to them, because I don't think this game would have existed 10 or even 5 years ago. And the fact that it exists now and I can enjoy it shows that there are still people out here who make an incredible experience. Best of all is this game is like $30. I was just like, I feel like I underpaid for this game. It feels like when I played Expedition 33, I feel like I should give them more money. And you can, there is a digital deluxe edition for $40, but still, I feel so like I underpaid for this game. And that's saying something, as more and more AAA publishers just try and nickel and dime you for every little thing, from every cosmetic, experience boosters, all of that. To have a game like this is so... And this is actually pretty sad. It's so refreshing. Like, this used to be the status quo, or the norm that game developers would strive for, and publishers. But the fact that we have something like this that just says we're going to make a fun game, it's going to be a complete experience from start to finish, no microtransactions, no BS, just a fully realized game about a mouse trying to solve a huge conspiracy in an LA Noire world, where you're going to shoot them with cryo cannons and stuff like that. It's a blast. I love this so much. But yeah, I highly recommend it if you want something that's different and enjoyable. This is a game that I think everyone should play. And honestly, it's one of my favorite games of the year. I think this is actually a game of the year contender for me, right up there with Resident Evil Requiem. Like, that game I had so much fun with, and the same fun I had with that game I had here. So yeah, I really think that this is a game of the year contender, and I think this is something that a lot of people should play. But that's it for me. Tell me what you think in the comments below, if you played it or if you plan to. Hopefully this gave you insight of whether you should try it out or not, but I had a lot of fun with it. But anyway, that's it for me. Bye.